All right, for the first three, we need a few things. We need to remember back to the beginning of the year, we had what a constant looks like. Okay, remember the graph of a constant? Straight, left and right. Okay, it just means f of x equals 5, f of x equals 2, some constant number, right? Remember that there is an x here, but it's x to the 0, which is 1. Okay, so this is when x is to the 0. Okay, then you have linear. X is the first power, right? F of x equals x. Okay, that isn't very clear, but f of x equals x. Now quadratic is when you have f of x equals x squared. So it's 1, 0, 1, 2, cubic 3, right? And then you've got a square root function. And we can do 4, 5, 6, but it wasn't in the book, so I explained it at the beginning of the year, but they're not going to have it on the tests or anything. So we'll talk about it more next year in pre-calc. Now, the square root, it just means it's a fractional exponent. So in this case, it's a 1/2. Could have been a 1/3. Except those are all look a little bit different, right? So they're only worried about you knowing the square root or 1/2 power. Okay. From there, you need to be able to tell me whether I give you, like in problem number 1, if I give you an equation, you need to tell me what does that match. Well, this has x to the first power, so that matches linear. It's that simple. This is linear. Okay? So f of x equals x.
I always forget we have times and variables.
Okay? Now with this one, and you should also include the picture. Looks like that. Okay? The parent function. Okay? Now, with this one, we notice that it's a parabola. It's upside down, right? So I'll give you extra credit if you can come up with the real parent function to this would be f of x is equal to negative x squared. Right? Negative x squared. And if you come up with x squared, that's fine because its original function derived from x squared, right? So I'm cool with x squared. Okay? So if you said f of x equals x squared, I'm okay with that. Right? The other thing you need to tell me is that it's a quadratic. Because that's what it is. And f of x equals x squared. It already has the picture, but you can still give me the picture of the function. So if you give me this one, you're going to do that. If you give me this one, oops, sorry. Just kidding. Just kidding. If you do this one, you're going to do this. If we do this one, you're going to do that. Right? So one's frowning, one's smiling. That's the parent function of each of those. Okay? Now, we're going to take this function, f of x equals x cubed. We're going to move it. So you need to know that this parent function looks like this. Okay? So the original parent function looks like this. Sorry, it's getting sloppy. Okay? And then I'm going to move this. Alright? I'm not asking you to graph it or nothing. I'm just telling you, give me the equation. Okay? But you should know how to graph this. Now, it says horizontal shift. Horizontal means x's. And x's always do the opposite. That's why we call them our x's, right? Okay? The horizontals, they're always horizontal, meaning laying down. And they always do the opposite of what we wanted. That's why there are x's. Okay? So, that means it's going left or right. In this case, left is a minus, right? So we're going to go minus 6. It's a shift, so that's a plus. And this is horizontal, so x opposite, or OPP. Right? And so what is plus a minus? Well, x opposite a minus then, 6, right? What's opposite of minus 6? Plus 6. X plus 6 is what I'm coming up with. It is moving left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But the function looks like x plus 6. That's inside the cube. Okay? So that g of x is equal to that. Now, in addition to that, it says followed by a vertical shift. Now remember, vertical means the whole function. The f of x, the whole function. So that means this whole function is going to be stretched. So f of x is going to be stretched, which means times by 5. Now we're not doing the opposite on this. This isn't OPP. This is the whole function. So I just take this whole function and multiply it by 5. When you multiply, it goes in front. When you add or subtract, it goes on the back. If I was multiplying x, it'd go in front of x. Right? If I'm multiplying the function, it goes in front of the function. The whole function. And then that's your g of x right there. Now, to actually write this, you would have to do this times this times this. Okay? Now, if you do that and you do it correctly, I will give you extra credit. Okay? So what that means is you have x squared plus 12x plus 36, and then you have to multiply that by x plus 6. Then when you're all said and done, you'll multiply everything by 5. Remember, this is clamshell. X cubed plus 12x squared plus 36x. Right? Dante? Plus 6x squared plus 6 times 12 is 60, 72 x plus 6 times 36, so 6 times 3 is 18, so that's 180. And 6 times 6 is 36, so that's 36. So that would be 216. Everybody get there with me? Okay, so plus 216, right? All multiplied by 5. So g of x would actually equal 5x cubed. Right? Then I actually add these two up. No, I can't add those two up. Sorry about that. Add these two up and add these two up. So it's actually 6 and 12 is 18 times 5. So now I have 18x squared times 5, which is 50 plus 40, so that gives me 90. So plus 90x squared. And then I'm going to change color. So I got 36 and 72. Wow, that's going to be 108 times 5. So that's 500 plus 40. So that's plus 540x. Right? And then plus 216, that's another color. 216 times 5. Right? So that's 1,000 plus 50 plus 30. 50 and 30 is 80. So 1,080.
What if we attempt it and get it wrong?
Then you don't get the extra credit. Alright. It depends on how wrong you get it. I mean, if you just did one simple little error, you know, I'm going to be understanding.